review the main concepts you need to know for quarter 2 that we've been studying. So we've been studying one-step equations where you solve for x with using one inverse operation, opposite of adding, subtracting, opposite of subtracting is adding, opposite of timesing, dividing, opposite of dividing is timesing. We're going to solve two-step equations where you add or subtract first and divide second, and then look at those distributive problems where you got to distribute first and solve. And then we'll be looking at variables on both sides where you start on the left, go to the right, and back to the left. For tonight's homework, I'm going to have you copy down these problems and then write a sentence about each one. If you want to change the numbers up and do your own, feel free. But here we go. For the first problem there, these are one-step equations, so I'm solving that equation for x, which means I need to get rid of that 2 that's by it. I want to get this x all by itself. So the opposite of this adding 2, the opposite of adding 2 is subtracting 2 to both sides. So here I go. I'm subtracting 2 on both sides. Those 2's will cancel away because opposites cancel. Bring the x straight down. Bring the equal straight down. 8 minus 2 gives me 6. If I wanted to check that answer, I'd take that 6 and plug it in where there's an x into that original equation. So where that x used to be, I put a 6 right there because that's the answer that I got and I want to check. Plus that 2, see if that equals 8. And if my math works, that means that my answer is correct. 6 is the solution. Second one. Opposite of subtracting 3 is adding 3, so I add 3 to both sides. Make sure what you do to one side of the equation, you always do to the other side of the equation to keep your equation balanced. So I'm adding 3. That brings the x straight down. 4 plus 3 gives me 7. Next problem. This is 4 times x. Anytime you see a number and a variable right next to each other, that is times. So the opposite of timesing is dividing by 4. So again, you're not going to subtract 4 right there. This is 4 times x. So the opposite is dividing both sides by 4. So I divide the left side by 4. The 4's go away. Bring my x straight down. Bring my equal down. And then 12 divided by 4 gives me 3. And then the last one here. This is x divided by 3. So x divided by 3. The opposite of dividing by 3 is timesing by 3. So these are a little more tricky, but you show timesing 3 using a big dot on both sides. Times 3 times 3. The 3's on my left cancel away. I bring my x straight down. And then 8 times 3 gives me 24. So if I wanted to check that and took that 24, put it right here. 24 divided by 3 would give me 8. All right, two-step equations. For these, always get rid of the plain number by adding or subtracting first and then divide second. These problems distribute first before you do anything, and then it becomes a two-step equation. So here we go. So that first one there, the opposite of subtracting 3, I'm going to add 3. So the first step is always adding or subtracting the plain number. Second step for these, after you do that, always involves dividing. So I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying by 2, which is dividing both sides by 2. That is the second step. So dividing both sides by 2 gets that x by itself, and then 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. And of course, if I took that 4 right here, 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 3 would give me 5. Second problem. Distribute first. Anytime you have a number outside of parentheses like this with an x inside there, distribute, timesing the 4 times both things inside there. So the 4 times the x gives me 4x. 4 times 2 gives me positive 8. And then after that point, it becomes a two-step equation where I start on the left side by getting rid of the plain number over here. And then my second step is dividing by that 4. So here we go. First step, subtract that 8 on both sides. Opposite of adding 8 is subtracting 8. Bring that 4x down. 12 minus 8 is 4. Next step, divide both sides by 4. And that gives me x equals 1. I am going to show you the check right here. The check, I'm going to take that 1 and plug it in where that x used to be. With that 1 being in there instead of an x, now that turns into really like an order of operation problem, which says always do the work inside the parentheses first before you times. When you have an x in there, that tells you you need to distribute. But usually when you have a number inside there, it's just pretty much an order of operation problem where you do the work in the parentheses first. So I'm going to add that 1 and 2 to get 3. And then 4 times 3 gives me 12, so that check does work. All right, last problem is a variables on both sides. So for these, start on the left side by getting rid of the plane 2, go to the right, get rid of the 2x, go back to the left, divide. So here we go. First step on these, always start on the left side, get rid of the plane number on the left side. Bring that 4x down, bring the 2x down. 10 minus 2 gives me positive 8. And now the crucial second step, stay over here on this side now. And instead of dealing with just plain numbers, get rid of that x term. So this is positive 2x. The opposite is subtracting 2x. This is the crucial second step right here. Subtract 2x on both sides. That gives me 2x equals 8. And then the last step on these, the third, is always go back to the left side here and do your division. So the opposite of timesing by 2 is dividing by 2. And that gives me the answer, x equals 4. So when you're doing these variables on both sides equations, try to always stair step them. Start on the left side, go to the right side, go back to the left. Start on the left side, get rid of the plain number like you would a two-step equation. Go to the right, get rid of the x term, go back to the left, do your division. And of course, if I check that, put 4 right here and 4 right here. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. Plug in 4 right here. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 10 is 18. So you would get a true statement if you plug that in. So for tonight's homework, copy these down. Write a complete sentence about each one. If you want to change the numbers up into your own, feel free. Good luck.